Well, well, well. We made it. We did it. We got it. It's very hard for me to collect my thoughts. Today's guest is living proof that not all Harvard grads become brain surgeons. Some grow epic beards and throw bombs in the NFL instead. He spent 17 years terrorizing defensive coordinators and fashion critics alike, starting games for 9 different teams and somehow winning the hearts of every fan base along the way. He's the king of surprise comebacks, post-game chest hair, and glorious chaos. Please welcome the man, the myth, the magic, Ryan Fitzpatrick. And it wouldn't be an intro for Ryan Fitzpatrick if we didn't get a little shirtless with the boys. And why not a couple beers? Hit the tape, baby.
I'm putting the helmet on as always.
The opportunity is right now.
Terrific defensive play. Intercepted. Off the back. Tua on the move. Going deep. Speed race. He's got Hill. He's got Hill. The Dolphins have recaptured the lead.
Oh, let's go. Right.
I decided to go a little formal, boys. I didn't know we were going tarps off.
You know, we had a lot of I would say positive influence from Dolphins Twitter, as you saw, to take some shirts off. But you look great, man. Looking good out there.
Thank you. Now, at Joe Robbie there, can I call you Joe? Is that okay?
Fair.
Do you shave your chest or you just don't grow chest
I
hair?
just don't. Listen, it's hard for me. It's crazy enough. My father is one hairy man.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of hair on my ass, but my chest just doesn't see any hair, and it's okay.
Wow. Huh.
You want to see?
Okay. No, we could still be
No.
friends. No.
Okay.
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that.
Let's jump right into it. Let's talk about how we got here, man. So you got spammed, and you were awesome throughout the process on Twitter. Kind of tell us your side. Like, when did you actually realize I'm actually going to come hang out with these goofballs?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to come on right away. When I started messing with you, I was just going to make you work for it a little bit. Nothing good should come easy in life, So I gave you a few likes every now and again, maybe a comment here or two. But it was like the high school girlfriend that you kind of left dangling a little bit. I wanted you guys to want it. I wanted you to show me that you wanted it. And so I appreciated whoever was putting out all the beard photos. I think that ultimately was what won me over, the daily pursuit of the long beard photos and the creativity. That was pretty awesome.
Shout out the List podcast. They were the ones putting out those photos. He said,
Nice.
Every day that Fitz doesn't come on the podcast, we're gonna make his beard longer. So shout out the List, man.
There you go, right there, baby.
There.
But I will say, like, I could tell just through that little engagement how many fans you guys have and how much people appreciate this podcast and listening to you guys. And so, for me, it was like, all right, I'm all in. We'll just give them a few weeks to think about it and, be unsure about themselves.
And I'll tell you what, in the background, every single like, even if it was just a like, never mind the response, because the response is a different story. That's like dropping a nuke in our group chat. A like would come through 7:30 in the morning. Bobby just hits up the group chat. Boys. Yeah. So
the best was because I told them, I said, they were like, I think it might be time to like slide a DM. I said, that's the beautiful part. He's got it turned off. He has to give us the green light by following. I said, one day we're going to wake up. That beautiful beard is going to be in there. And I woke up one morning. I said, boys, we got a new follower. And they I was like, I'm going to play it cool. I'm going to wait till lunch to message him. And Joe was like, you do not wait.
Dude, I was freaking out. He's like, no, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait a couple hours. I go, dude, you better strike iron while it's hot. He might forget about us. 2 hours goes by.
No, at that point, I was becoming self-conscious. Like, wait a minute. It's been 30 minutes. He hasn't hit me back yet. Like, Are they playing with me? Like, what is going on here? What's the like, how long have you guys been doing this for? When did
A
it
year.
start? Oh, okay, cool.
Last year. Yeah.
Yeah, sick.
Yep.
Yeah, so
So,
the story goes, the three of us grew on Twitter, actually became friends through Twitter, which was really, really cool. And, we have all this kind of, I guess you can call it clout on Twitter and these followers. And we're like, dude, like, what are we doing with ourselves? Like, we all got pretty good, decent personalities other than Ghost.
Thanks, boys.
So we're like, why don't we start a podcast? So we put it out there. We posted we're starting a podcast, and Blake Ferguson's like, dude, I'll be the first one on. Like, he hit us up.
Yeah.
And ever since then, it's been ground running. Like, it's just been an incredible run, man.
Very cool. All right, so am I doing the interview, or are you guys interviewing
Yeah,
me?
we got
what are we
you.
doing here?
Yeah,
Come on,
we're gonna-
Bobby, let's go, man.
We're gonna jump right into the football talk here. First thing is big Dolphins news lately. Zack Mercilus finally got the payday he deserves. Right? You were a big advocate. How happy does that make you?
I was so pumped. And recently I put out some tweets. I didn't know that they were in contract negotiations or they were talking about it, but the dude has just been so underpaid his whole career. And I know a lot of what he was going through, especially when he signed that first contract, because it's like you're a guy that hasn't been wanted. You finally have a home, and it's the reason that you have an agent, because you don't know what your worth is. So for him, somebody was going to pay him to play football. Okay, where do I sign? So you have an agent that knows the value that you bring to a team. And so even the last deal that he signed, it was like, all right, you're worth more than that. He continues to outplay his contract. I knew when Drew Rosenhaus became his agent, I knew that was good for him. It seems like every Miami contract is done through Drew. So Zach is a smart man and was so happy to see it. But, I threw a tweet out there that resonates in a locker room. When you have a guy that's an absolute leader, that works his butt off, that does everything the right way, you love to see a guy like that get rewarded by the organization that he's given his all to. And it was great to see. Zach is such a good dude. And I was with him right at kind of the beginning of this, where you could tell right away he's special. I don't know that anybody thought he was going to be, top 10 in the league special, but he is. He produces. But the coolest thing about him is his wife is the best athlete in the family. She's more athletic than he is. That's why I told him before they had a kid, like, I'm putting stock in your child, and Stetson is going to be an absolute unit when he gets older.
It's crazy. Speaking of Drew Rosenhaus, we have another guy, bit of a full circle moment. Minkah Fitzpatrick was just traded back to us. You were here when he first got drafted, just kind of getting your thoughts on the whole full circle moment here and where we are with Minkah.
Yeah, I was surprised when that happened. One of my first intros to Minkah, he had tried to trademark Fitzmagic, and it came back that they didn't let him because it was tied to somebody else greater than it was tied to him, which I was happy about. But he's a great player, man. I mean, there's been a Fitzpatrick to Fitzpatrick completion in the NFL. I threw him a pick when he was on the Steelers. Just a gift. It was more like a punt, guys, 3rd and long. But he's a great player. He's a tone setter. He's a guy that brings great attitude and energy, and he's a true professional. So I don't know what happened at the end of his Steelers run there, but I do know that he's one of the best DBs in the league, and I'm really excited for them to bring a veteran presence, some real leadership in that unit. And he's definitely a guy that's going to change the identity of your defense right away.
Nice. So from seeing Tua as a rookie to now watching him head into year 6, where has he grown the most, and where does he still need to improve?
It's been awesome. It's been really cool to see Tua's growth. I mean, even just, getting married, having kids, just the man that he's become, all the tattoos. He told me he was getting tattoos, but he didn't have any yet. So now to see him all rocked up with the sleeve tats, I think it's hard to know. I just see it from the outside like you guys do right now. I'm not in the locker room every day, obviously, but the leadership aspect, that's something where I think as you get older in the NFL, you get more comfortable. And when you get more comfortable, you're allowed to throw your voice around a little bit more. And when he came to the Dolphins and was drafted, that was obviously 2020, the year that I was there, that I started as the starter. it was a little bit of an awkward transition in bringing him in, and guys still asking me questions, but him out there playing. But he's really grown in that role. This has obviously been his team for years now. The way he, answers questions in the media, the way he approaches day-to-day stuff. I love kind of reading his quotes and, learning about like his new approach and how serious everything is and how much everything matters to him. All that's great. But as a player, right away, I saw the anticipation. I saw the accuracy. So to have McDaniel come in a few years ago, to be able to really take those elite traits that he had and showcase them, that's helped him out a lot. Everybody says, Tua's got to stay healthy. He does. And unfortunately, two of his bigger injuries, it was Thursday Night Football in 2022 against the Bengals, which I don't care who you are. If you get tackled that way and your head snaps and hits the ground, you're going to have issues, right? And so then it was really scary to see him kind of get hurt again. And you really just start thinking about the long-term health of Tua. But, 2 years ago, he played all 17 games. He was healthy. He's got to know there's certain hits you can avoid. And the one last year in our game, he could have avoided it. But he's done a great job with that. He's going to be smart. He understands his role and his leadership role on that team. And he understands that they're not going to be a good football team if he's not the one playing quarterback.
Absolutely. I want to take a second shout outs in the trenches with the $99 super chat. He says, oh, Fitzmagic, I'm not a great singer. Everyone can hear that. We love you, Fitzy, leading rusher of the 2019 Dolphins. Thank you for making a terrible season enjoyable. But man, I kind of touched base on that. Like, you were the leading rusher. And I mean, there's a gap, although probably small, between you and guys like Michael Vick and, RG3. Small gap, but
very small.
Rusher.
Yes.
Very small gap. You were the leading rusher in 2019. And, just talk about that a little bit, just that little kind of accolades, another piece on your resume, the crazy resume that you had in the NFL.
It's insane. I was 37 years old, and when I was at the combine, I think I ran a 4.88. So at that point I was probably 5.0 plus. And it shows that we struggled a little bit that year. I think I had 243 yards and I was the leading rusher, which is another crazy stat.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, man, I love when I was coming on, I actually watched a couple games just to kind of get back in the mindset of what that season was like. And absolutely love that team, man. I mean, we started the year, it was a fire sale. If you guys, you remember it, Laramie Tunstall out the door, Minka out the door, Kenny Stills out the door. Kenyon Drake ends up getting traded. Like, anybody that had any sort of resume was gone. And we were just left with a trash pile full of players, me included, standing on the top of it. And I have so many fond memories of that season, because you go back to, I think we lost 51 to whatever to Baltimore and 41 to nothing or whatever to New England. To go 5-4 in the last 9 games that year, to beat the Patriots in a game they had to win, to alter the course of NFL history and the Chiefs getting the 1 seed and going to win the Super Bowl. I mean, those are things that I'm always going to remember. And the relationships I made with those guys on that team, it was incredible, man. We played hard. Devontae Parker was an absolute stud that year.
Yep.
Watching some of those, he was unbelievable. Any 50-50 ball turned into a 90-10 ball. And he just pluck it off people's heads. And that was the kind of receiver that I love throwing to. Brandon Marshall was that way. Devontae, he ends up going to New England. They talk about how he can't get any separation. Throw the ball up to the dude, because he did it all year. He was elite at that. So I have so many fond memories, so many great friends from that coaching staff, great friends that were players on that team. And that set us up for the next year, having a better season. And, obviously with Flores ended up leaving and everything happening between him and Tua, that momentum was killed. But we had a really great end to that season, and I look back on that year very fondly.
Dude, speaking of epic moments for the Dolphins, do the Raiders play the face mask?
Yeah.
I mean, what the heck was going through your brain, dude? Like, is that one of those you don't even think, you just let it go?
Yeah, that's another crazy one because I was just watching the Eagles game back, and I think Mac Hollins was on the Eagles at that point during that season, or the season before. And just thinking back to Mac Hollins, I just remember the first time that he came over to us, it was during the season. I'd never thrown him a pass, and he got thrown in the huddle, and it was like 3rd and 12. And I said, "Hey, Mac, I'm Ryan. Are you fast?" "Yeah, I'm fast." "All right, run as fast as you can down the sideline. I'm going to throw it to you." And I think we ended up getting a PI on the play. So that was my introduction to Mac. And he's obviously, his star has risen a little bit since then with just all the quirkiness in Buffalo and people being able to see who he is. But that play in particular, I mean, I got thrown in the 4th quarter, which, Flores had done that once before that year in Denver. And for me, like the tail end of my career it was a very freeing time for me because it was all icing on the cake. So I got to go out there and just play. And very specifically that season and that Raiders game, that 4th quarter, I just got to go out there, call a lot of my own plays and just play. And ironically, that play happened almost exactly like I thought it would. I'd hit Mike Gesicki up the chute earlier. It was going to be Tampa 2. I was going to stare Mike down the middle, just like I had thrown it to him earlier. The safety came over, and then I was going to throw either a no look or I was going to just, drill it down the sideline. It just so happened that my face mask gets ripped. It probably took about 5 yards off of the pass. Mac Hollins was there to catch it, and the rest is history. But such a cool play. A lot of people come up to me, and will ask how I did it. And a lot of my kids' friends, like that's what they know me as, is that particular play right there. But the crazy part about that too was we win that game. We get to 10-5. I don't know what's going to happen the next week. Am I playing? Is Tua playing? We're going to Buffalo, and I test positive for COVID on Monday. And it was just the craziest string of events you could ever have. But it was just kind of a microcosm of what my career was. It was random and all over the place and fun and exciting and sad and a little bit in between.
Couple super chats here real quick. Karen, a regular. She's in here every week. She said, "Not since Dan did a quarterback get me so hyped for football. Thank you for making Dolphins fun to watch again. I love you." And my friend Tara, another regular, Fin fan for life, does too. And then she wants to know what's one thing you loved about playing in Miami, and what's your favorite thing to do in retirement besides spending time with your family?
Miami was a weird time because it was the only time in my career that my family didn't come with me. We had just come from Tampa, so they stayed in Tampa and I went back and forth. So a lot of my downtime in Miami was me going back to Tampa. And so I did a little bit. I stayed in like a high rise in Los Olas in Fort Lauderdale. I bought one of those cast nets and used to catch bait and fish in those canals. Nice. Used to go to the Royal Pig and drink a lot of Guinness with Durham Smythe and Mike Gesicki.
No longer there, by the way.
Yeah, it's not. It's gone.
No, it's gone.
Royal Pig's gone.
Yeah.
Oh no. And then the next year was insane because it was COVID. So I had this plan where I was going to see my family on off days, and COVID happens. You have to test at the facility every single day. And so I ended up buying a Tesla so it would drive me back and forth. And it just had some crazy hours trying to get back to see my family, but to get back to test in Miami for, do the COVID test. They wouldn't allow me to do it in Tampa, even though I had played there and knew everybody there. So I did a lot of driving that year in Miami. The other thing that I love doing, everything is about family and kids and all that, but now I'm an analyst for Thursday Night Football. So traveling on the road as this season gets going with Andrew Whitworth and Richard Sherman, Tony Gonzalez, Carissa Thompson. It's so much fun. We've got such a great group, and just kind of get to be myself and talk about football and share my love for football. And it's not all analysis and hardcore stats. It's just, it's things I got to experience and things I get to talk about with everybody, just like here with you guys on the Dive Bar podcast.
Let's go.
Am I going to be the only one in skins the whole time, guys? Like, what's going on here?
I think you look great.
You look awesome.
Oh, Bob.
Oh, Bobby.
I got something for you, Fitz.
Oh,
Let's go,
Okay.
baby.
All right.
I got
Okay.
something for you,
that
Fitz.
is
Some
what we
real.
call taco meat. Where's my pick? I got to see if
Here
I
we
can
go.
virtually. We got to pick that chest hair out a little bit.
There we go.
That is all curled up, man. Hey, Bobby, that looks good. I'm proud of it, man. Nice work.
Appreciate it, man.
Hell yeah.
Especially
got
on
you,
a
Joe.
Taco Tuesday. Gotta love it.
Come on.
Ground beef's on deck, baby.
Oh man, can't leave
What
my
a
boy Joe
beautiful
hanging
man.
like that.
But
So
no, this, like for the last 20 minutes, I'm sitting around like, geez,
You're doing
I'm the
great.
only person with a shirt off. Now it's getting kinda
Ghost.
messed
I didn't
up.
even notice yours was off. There you go.
There we go.
Little subtle take. I love that. Yeah.
dude, when he showed up in a tux, it's kind of like it was kind of like the Step Brothers. Kind of, now the tuxedo seemed kind of fucked up. It's like I was like, Joe's out. I'm going with
I already,
Fitz.
listen,
Anyways,
I've been practicing that intro for like 20 minutes, so I'm like, dude, I gotta
Oh.
take the shirt off. Like,
And-
I'm committed. And then you pulled up into Monopoly gear, and I'm like, shit.
I figured I'd go opposite for you. I don't know how this jersey fit me with shoulder pads, though. I'm still trying to figure that one out. This thing's
That's
a little
game worn.
snug.
Well,
Yeah, a little
I'm gonna
game
assume
worn
you're
here.
not 229 anymore.
Not 228.9. Yeah, not 229, 228.9. But no, I'm probably 240, 245 right now, which I'm okay with. I don't want to go any heavier than that though.
It's good fighting weight.
It's a good fighting weight for sure.
another super chat here. Eric Mix. I don't think I've ever seen this guy. So good job, Fitz, pulling in the crowd tonight.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be beloved by so many different fans across different NFL teams? Also, what are your 3 favorite receivers you have thrown to throughout your career?
I love it for as much as I travel now, especially during the NFL season. It's awesome. So people come up to me all the time, and I would say half of them are probably Bills fans, and then I'll get quite a few Miami fans, and then it's just a smorgasbord. It's just a random, like, okay, who is this guy fans of? I'll tell you what, a lot of the New York fans, I had a great year in 2015 with the Jets. I had a miserable year in 2016. And most of the New York fans that come up to me are incredible. And that's one of their last great memories of a season from 2015. So it's fun. It's fun to be able to talk to everybody, and traveling in the airport is where I get to do it most. My 3 favorite receivers is a difficult one because I play with so many great ones. I mean, the first huddle I was ever in was Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce. I mean, it's like, and Marshall Faulk and Orlando Pace, and it's like, where the hell do you go from there? But for me, Brandon Marshall, he had 1,500 yards or close to it when I was with the Jets. Devontae Parker, the year that he had when I was in Miami. Stevie Johnson was probably my first love in Buffalo. But it's like you start losing and not naming guys. It's like I play with Andre Johnson and DeAndre Hopkins.
Damn.
2 of the best to ever do it. Oh, wait a minute. I played with Mike Evans and Deshaun Jackson.
That's right. Yep.
2 of the best to ever do it. And so it's a dangerous game because then you forget guys. Like I didn't mention Ocho Cinco in Cincinnati, right? But a lot of great players. For me personally, Steve Johnson, Brandon Marshall, Devontae Parker were probably my top 3 and the chemistry that I had with them. But Mike Evans, Deshaun Jackson are very close as well.
We always hear a lot about Stevie Johnson.
Yeah.
We always hear a lot about him, like how great of a player he was.
Dude, he was. So the crazy thing for me, so I got to Buffalo in 2009 and signed there to back up Trent Edwards. And there was this dude he played a little bit the year before, was a 7th round draft pick from Kentucky. And nobody could guard him. He was lighting up everybody. And so we got a lot of reps together being the second team guy and running scout team, and him. Nobody wanted to have the job to cover him in one-on-ones. And it was like, how can we make this dude special? He's unbelievable. T.O. was there that year, actually. So there you go. I forgot to mention T.O., like maybe one of the top 5 receivers of all time. Lee Evans, there's another one. And in 2010, he kind of got his real chance to be the guy. And those first 3 seasons, he went for 1,000 yards each, and people really started to see and learn like how wonderful he was. the cool thing about Stevie was a lot of it was basketball. A lot of it was an and one mixtape when he ran routes, and he needed a quarterback to be able to be patient with him, to be able to be himself. And he especially needed a coach and a coordinator to let him do the same thing. And when Chan Gailey came in and essentially just said, Stevie, we want you to be you, it ended up working out great. So yeah, he's one of those guys, when you ask DBs of that era, like who was a tough cover, Stevie Johnson's going to come up quite a bit.
Sneaky name.
Yeah.
All right. So we've heard from players on this podcast in the past how difficult it is to make the retirement decision. What was like that this is it moment for you?
Well, unfortunately for me, I was in Washington, started the first game, and I think until Aaron Rodgers got hurt with the Jets 4 plays in, I might have been the record holder. It was like 14 plays in. I had a dude land on me. I had been tackled that way a million times in my career. My knee drove into the ground, and it just jammed the top of my femur into my hip, and I had a hip injury that wasn't extremely painful, but I knew at the time something was wrong. And so that kind of made my decision easy. I mean, I feel like I could play till I'm 50 if I wanted to be in the role of mentor, backup, come in and sling it around the field without a care in the world. Like, I could do that. But that hip injury was a little bit complicated. And it was also at a time in my life, my oldest had just was in his freshman year at Langley High School near Washington, D.C. And I just felt it was fair to him. We had to settle down a little bit. So we moved back to Arizona. He got to spend his last 3 years in Arizona at the same high school, which the kid went to 10 schools in 12 years. And a lot of it is like made him who he is today, which is pretty cool. But that became an easy decision for me. And I look back and I'm a little bit thankful about the hip, because I don't know if I ever would have stopped playing, so it's been nice to kind of settle down into civilian life the last few years.
That's definitely one of the coolest parts about playing quarterbacks. Like, you can get away with playing till you're 40 if you stay healthy. Like,
yeah. And in what capacity too? Like, if you're not the starter, if you're reliable, if you show up, if you have a coach that can trust you, if you have guys that believe in you, you could play for a long, long time.
You've seen the inside of many different locker rooms, from every culture imaginable. What makes a great locker room? What makes a bad locker room?
I've seen both. I think it always starts with leadership. And in the NFL, the model obviously starts with the owner. GM matters, head coach really matters. And then the leaders on a team, the leaders in a locker room, probably is what matters the most. And so if you have turds that are in that position, if you have guys, you talk about accountability and showing up and all those different things. Zach Sealer's an example. You have your best players are the guys that are the most accountable, the guys that you can depend on the most, and the guys that are going to show up on Sunday. That's the makeup of a good leader and a good locker room. Now you have other guys where their productivity is insane at times, but you're unsure if they're going to show up. You don't know. We don't need to give too many guys away, but it's like you don't know what route they're going to run. You don't know if they're going to be in the proper defense when you need it most, or if you check a call on defense, are they going to screw it up? Are they going to do it? If you count on your best players to be the reliable guys, and that's what hurts the locker room, and that's what hurts teams. So that would certainly answer that way. And then just the head coach setting the tone of what we're going to accept and what isn't acceptable. And I think, Mike McDaniel is a guy that he got thrust into the role of head coach, and I think he's been learning on the job. And his personality is a lot different than Mike Vrabel's personality. And there are different ways that you can do it, right? I mean, Sean McVay is an unbelievable coach, and he's grown into the coach that he is today. But I think Mike McDaniel has shown a lot of growth, but this is going to be a huge year for him of, okay, are we going to see some of these lessons and rules and things that we're putting in place? Are we going to see them lead to more wins for the Dolphins this year?
You kind of touched on people knowing where to be kind of when you call audibles and whatnot, especially your best players that you depend on. I just want to get your opinion because recently Tyreek said that he's going into year 4 and he's just now kind of learning the offense. What, as a quarterback, as a starting quarterback, first of all, I know you got to be hating seeing how many weapons are on that offense right now after seeing what you dealt with. What do you think about that comment from Tyreek Hill?
I think it's silly. I think it's a comment that's made to make headlines, but it's like the dude, not counting last year, the 2 years before that, he caught for 1,700 yards, right? I mean, he's such an unbelievable player. I'll just say sometimes it's a bad thing for guys to have to think before the snap. And so sometimes you're putting guys in a bad situation because of all the thinking and the things that you're making him do before he can just go out there and play. And so, for Tyreek to make that statement, did he not know the playbook? I think it's probably a little overstated. I think maybe he made that statement to be like, look, our wide receiver coach now is holding me accountable. This is good for me, but is it going to make him a better player? I don't think so, because a lot of his stuff is backyard ball anyway, where it's like when he gets the ball in his hand, he's so electric. The one thing that can help is trust. As a quarterback, you have to have trust in your guys. And, maybe that trust has been fractured a little bit between Tua and Tyreek. But I promise you, when he hits Tyreek on one of those little 12-yard drift in-cut routes after play action and Tyreek takes it for 80, he's going to want to throw him the ball a little bit more during the year. So that, winning cures all in the NFL. And when having a receiver that can go 80 yards when you throw him a 10-yard ball really helps out trust issues as well.
Before, you touched on leadership in the NFL, and you've obviously had your fair share of teams and different journeys throughout the NFL. Who taught you most about leadership throughout your career?
I had a lot of guys, and the first one that comes to mind when you think about quarterbacks was Gus Frerotte, and that might be one that people are like, wait a minute, Gus
let's
Frerotte.
go.
Gus,
9-7,
Dolphin,
baby.
Dude, Gus is a great dude. I actually just got a voicemail from Gus today, but it wasn't just football. It was Gus as a father, Gus, the way he handled everything, Gus having to move around a bunch of different times, his relationship with his wife. Like, there were a lot of things that he taught me in the 1 year that we were together that really stuck with me. And then another one was Carson Palmer, and just how to lead men, how you have a whole room of dudes that are just looking up at you, eating out of the palm of your hand because they love and respect you so much. And he was the overall #1 pick. He was a great player, but more so than that, he was a dude. And being a dude to all these guys and not being better than anybody and making sure that right away, like, we're all in this together. I'm going to work just as hard as the next guy, and I'm going to try to bring everybody up with me. Carson really showed me some good examples when I was young too, of a guy that I always have looked up to and aspired to be. But it's that for him, it was that dude factor, man. He was such a great locker room guy and cared so much about everybody, and really made it a point to include everybody, whether you were an all-pro receiver or you were the last guy in line. He was going to make you feel like you were the most important dude on the team. And I think that resonated with me when I saw that when I was young.
I kind of want to tie that into how Flores handled the transition, because did you feel like that was your locker room at the time?
Well, I did, but that was a tough situation because, I'm not a dummy. I've been in that situation quite a bit in my career. They drafted Tua with the number 5 pick. It was going to be his team, right? At some point. When was it going to be? Who knows? At that point, we were 3-3. We had just blown out the Niners, with 40-something points. We had just beat the Jets, I think 24-0, and the bye week happened. Now, if you would ask me at the beginning of the season, probably would have circled the bye week as like, okay, this is a great time for teams to make quarterback moves with the young guy. It happens all the time. I've talked about this quite a bit, and it's like, it's not sour grapes. It's just, at that point, I didn't think that was the right decision. That being said, like, it was also nice for me that it was a bye week, because then it's Tua's team. This isn't Tua's fault that this decision was made. Like, I got to support Tua. I got to be there for him. And in all the side conversations that are happening, I can't be the one that's saying, oh yeah, like I should be the guy. Like, I have to 100% be all in and support Tua, because if I was in that role, that's what I would want from a guy like me. And so that's what I did. But it was nice, just to be able to have a little bit of time to sit back. I mean, when I heard the news that day and did a press conference and all that, Kyle Van Noy called me up and he's like, hey, you want to hang out? I was like, no, like, I don't want to talk to anybody. And again, my family's in Tampa. I just want to be by myself. Mm-hmm. He's like, that's fine, but I'm coming over. And I was living in a hotel that year. And I said, dude, don't come over. And sure as shit, he gives me a call and he said, hey, I'm here. I've got 2 bottles of wine. Like, let's sit, let's talk. Let's just kind of hash it out. And we don't got to talk about football. We can talk about life or whatever you want. But Kyle Van Noy is one of those special dudes from my time in Miami that it's just, some of the stuff is more important than football. And some of those friendships run really deep. And that was a cool moment for me and him, and just a guy that'll always be special to me because of that.
Speaking of that time period, there's so many narratives came out during that time period. There's like, we learned today, like a lot of people are pissed off because they think certain things, but like, I want to give you a chance to kind of speak on the whole dynamic between you, Flores, Tua, from the beginning to the end, how it might have changed, because so many people think, there's so many rumors and stuff about like, you didn't like Tua, they chose you, but then, like you just said, you came off 2 blowout victories and they put you on the bench. So I kind of want to give you a chance to talk about the dynamic in that building and kind of how, like, your perspective on it.
Yeah, I mean, I love Tua. I actually have a really good relationship with Brian Flores, and I like Brian as a coach. I said some stuff on my podcast last year that really got blown up, but it's like, just if you take the time to sit and listen to like a 15-minute conversation, because that's one of those situations, the way that it ended so poorly there that it's hard not to have a very nuanced, in-depth conversation about it. It's hard to give you a 10-second soundbite about it and be able to reflect everything that happened. The biggest thing was Flores. I think he had to learn a lot about being a head coach. And I think he had to learn a lot about the way he treated people in the building, mainly, the people that work for him. It was never the staff members, the equipment guys, the medical team. He treated all of them with the utmost respect. They all, to this day, like, absolutely love the guy. I just think that his downfall in Miami was he was so demanding of his coaching staff and saw it one particular way that he didn't treat a lot of them with the respect that they deserved. And I don't think a lot of players saw that. I don't think a lot of players felt that, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I think those guys absolutely loved him. And I think as a coordinator in Pittsburgh and now as a coordinator in Minnesota, those guys absolutely love him. But it doesn't mean if you're a good defensive coordinator, if you're a good offensive coordinator, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to translate to being a good head coach. And I think there were some lessons there that he had to learn and hopefully has grown from, because it ended very poorly. And I wasn't there when it ended, but obviously had a lot of different relationships with a lot of different guys. But it's amazing to see. I'm always going to root for him to have success. It's amazing to see what he's doing in Minnesota right now. And I think if you look at, he's a very qualified dude. He's an unbelievable defensive coordinator, but he didn't get a head coaching job last year. Right. And so it's not necessarily because of the way that he coaches defense. I think him not getting a job last year kind of showed like there's some growth that needs to happen and that he needs to realize. And I think he probably has, but there's certainly some relationships that need to be mended and some wrongs that need to be righted there in order for him probably to be able to have that opportunity to be a head coach again.
Yeah, I think, and look, I'm just a guy with his shirt off talking to Ryan Fitzpatrick in a top hat. Take that for whatever. I mean, I think that's awesome, but it don't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. But as a fan looking in, it's kind of like, we'll see if it means anything with Mike McDaniel, because I mean, he might be jobless next offseason. But the biggest thing, and it kind of touches on what you said, Flores just wouldn't put anybody on the other side of the ball that knew more than him. like McDaniel got Fangio and then Weaver now. I feel like, man, imagine, and we tried to interview McDaniel while Flores was there. Imagine if you got McDaniel in the building, but I just feel like he wouldn't go and get a guy that could look at him in the eyes and say, no, like, I know more about this. Let me handle this side of the ball. And he wouldn't do that. And the offense just struggled and sputtered and struggled.
Yeah, I mean, I think, initially it was, and what happens with all these hires is, okay, who do I know and who do I trust? And what system do I like? So Chad O'Shea, they were really good friends from New England. It just didn't work out the way he wanted it to work out. So then, what did he do? He went to go try and hire the best guy that was available in his mind. And this happened multiple times to me in my career where it happened with Todd Bowles when I was with the Jets, but a defensive coach that had such a difficult time going against Chan Gailey and Chan Gailey's offenses that he wanted that for his team. And so Flores was that way where he went after Chan Gailey to come in and try to fix everything because he didn't want to have to oversee and have his hands on that side of the ball all the time. Chan Gailey had been retired for 3 years when he brought him in.
We know.
So it was like, and by the way, it was not, nobody asked me anything about it. And I had played for the guy for a long time. So like, I was as shocked as anybody to hear the news that Chan was coming back. But so I think he tried to bring in somebody that he could just hand off and say, this is your offense. But I don't think he could let it happen or let it go when he was the head coach.
Gotcha.
I kind of want to switch the vibes a little bit.
Yeah.
Switch the vibes. Let's get back to some positive vibes here. As a bearded god yourself, really wanted to get your Mount Rushmore of beards, all-time bearded men or ladies. I mean, listen, it is what it is.
Yeah. I'll just tell you the number one and the guy that's the absolute bearded god in my mind is Brett Kiesel.
Oh yeah.
I had
You went full player.
Hell
okay.
yeah. Steelers.
I had the distinct pleasure of playing against Brett Kiesel when I was on the Texans in 2014. And you better believe that whole game, all I was thinking about was I cannot wait to shake this man's hand after the game.
That's awesome.
So Kiesel is on the top for me. And again, I hate doing these lists because you forget people, right? So let's leave it at Brett Kiesel as my number one GOAT of bearded men that I have ever seen or touched beards with.
Didn't he like wait till he retired to shave his beard off and he looked like a predator?
He looks so different, but it's like his mustache, the curl that he could get in his mustache, how fast it would grow, the coloration, the reds and the darks and the blondes. It was just, it was exactly what you want in a beard.
So we call it recon. When we get a guest on, we do a little digging. We try to find the coolest stories. I thought this one was awesome because y'all have 7 kids together now. I want you to tell the story about meeting your wife's roommate at a party randomly at Harvard and how that ended up turning into what you have now.
I mean, think about this, guys. My freshman year, I hadn't met my wife yet. I'd only seen her from afar. So I can't believe I haven't mentioned it yet, but I went to Harvard, right? So, but before school starts, football team is out there, soccer team is out there. So you all have your meals together in the dining hall, and woof, she like instantly, I was like, that's the girl, that's her. In my mind, I thought that's the girl I'm going to marry. That's okay to think that in your mind. But a couple weeks into school, after a few beverages, I went up to her roommate, still hadn't met my wife, Liza, and said, "You're Liza Barber's roommate? I'm going to marry that girl someday."
There you go. That's
awesome.
awesome.
I think that wasn't a conversation starter. I think that ended the conversation right there. We went our separate ways, and she was like, "Oh my God, that creep over there, that guy just said he was going to marry you." Ha! Joke's on you, Liza. I got you in the end.
That's awesome.
What was the part about Facebook started while you was on campus at Harvard? And it was just like a pamphlet or something?
No, well, so it was actually a book, just a small book. So when you got there, it was all the freshmen. They would be put in the Facebook. You could see a picture of them. their dorm room number and their phone number for the dorms. So that for all the dudes, they were like immediately like, okay, where's the cute girls? Ooh, okay, she lives there. I mean, very dangerous thing to have out there now. But so essentially,
luckily it was at Harvard.
Yeah, there you go. But early on, like that's what it was. It was a physical book. And then Zuckerberg came along. He kind of put everything online with that idea, and you could see who was in your classes, and it was just at Harvard at first, and then it expanded to Ivy League. Then it expanded kind of to other colleges, Vanderbilt, Rice, and places like that. And then it was like I was getting messages from my grandma, and I was like, "Holy crap, this thing has really, really blown up quick." So I had it, and then when I got into the NFL, I got rid of it just because I didn't want the random messages. I didn't want random people talking to me. And look at where we are now, guys. I'm on the Dive Bar podcast talking to 3 random dudes, and I feel like we're all best friends now. So
let's go.
Hey, we have that on record, and we can record that. And
we have that on record.
Karen said Fitz in the Dolphins dive bar. Dolphins 14 jersey. He can't take it off.
That's right.
No, it's too tight. I can't.
Literally.
We're gonna have to cut it off after.
Yeah, for sure.
Last question, Fitz. We can't thank you enough for your time. The chat's been going absolutely bananas. Obviously, people love you, man. They've been impacted by your career. So thank you so much for taking time with us. Last question. You're a father of 7. I have a 3-year-old, 7-year-old. Joe and Eric, the producer in the back, both have kids on the way coming later this year. What's the best father advice you could give us?
Ooh, I mean, the biggest thing for me, I think when you first start having kids, you buy every manual there is and you try to learn as much as you can. And what you learn is nobody knows shit about raising kids. Like you just learn as you go, right? My kids are so different from your kids. My first kid is so different than my 7th kid that you just figure it out and you do what's best for you and your wife and for your family. And you do the best you can every day and you go from there. And so that's the best advice that I can give people is like people who act like they have it all figured out. They don't. And there is no manual for it. It's just survival every day and figuring out and just making sure at the end of the day that there's love in your household and that your kids feel loved. And if you can do that, then that's definitely a win.
Love to hear it. That's pretty simple,
Noted.
boys. Jot it down. It's pretty simple, man.
Noted.
Basically, you know nothing and prepare for everything.
There you go.
I'm in.
Well,
Where do I sign up?
There we go.
You got to find a girl first. You got a lady? You got a lady, Joe Robbie?
My lady is due December 6th.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm excited. We got a baby girl on the way.
Oh, awesome. Congrats, dude.
Thank you, brother. Really, really excited, man. Really excited.
So I got to deliver my 4th child.
That's awesome.
We were in Buffalo right before the birth. The doctor asked me, she was like, "Hey, would you like to deliver your baby?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, I'd like to deliver my baby." Okay, here's some gloves. I was like, "I'm not putting gloves on. I'm going in. Let's do this." I got to deliver my daughter Maisie and throw her on my wife's chest, and we were good to go. So
That's
I can't say I've done that before.
Fitz, we're gonna head out. We appreciate you. Obviously, you can't believe this all came to happen and everything else. But as we head out, hit us with your best cadence.
There we go. There we go, baby. Let's
I
go.
love this, boys. I don't know. I'm gonna be a white 20. White 20. Easy. Gritty team. Miami. Sit hot. There you go, boys.
Let's go.
Pleasure.
Oh my God. Fitz, it has been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. And if you told me back in 2019, hey, Ghost, you're gonna have this guy on your podcast, I'd probably call you nuts and call the cops. But this has been an amazing experience, dream come true. We appreciate you coming on, and all the fans, Dolphins Twitter, they support you, and we all support you, and we appreciate the time that you gave us in Miami and fun times in a not so fun time. I can say that.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, man.
Keep up the good work. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thank y'all for coming through.
All right. Later, dudes.